Welcome to the 7th lecture of this lecture series titled Introduction to Philosophy. This is a lecture in Chapter 1 on Vedantic and Upanishadic World Views under the first unit titled Classical Indian Epistemology and Metaphysics. In this lecture, we provide an overview of the concept of Brahman. Brahman constitutes one of the core ideas of Hindu philosophy. Brahman is the ultimate reality. It is derived from the root br, which refers to growing or evolving. It etymologically means the great or the supreme. It bursts forth as nature or soul and is regarded as the ultimate cause of the universe. Brahman is the cosmic principle of existence, the ultimate unifying and integral principle of the universe. Grimes defines Brahman in his concise dictionary of Indian philosophy as the ultimate reality, the ground of the universe, the absolute, the divine, great, and so on. Brahman is referred to as Tajatan as per the Chandogya Upanishad. The world arises from the Brahman and is supported by it. Everyone has to return to the Brahman. Brahman has two inseparable aspects or modes of existence: Nirguna, that is impersonal and indeterminable, and Saguna, that is personal and self-determining. These classifications need some explaining. Nirguna Brahman has been conceived in various ways. According to Shankara, in the Vedantic school, Nirguna Brahman is devoid of all attributes or qualifying characteristics. According to Vaishnavism, Nirguna Brahman is either self-luminosity and spiritual pervasiveness of the Supreme Personality, or his freedom from the natural attributes and sensuous qualities. Even though he is endowed with supernal qualities as absolute truth, absolute goodness, absolute beauty, absolute bliss, etc. Nirguna Brahman is the silence in the sense that it is beyond all verbalized expressions. On the other hand, Saguna Brahman is the supreme spirit that is conceived as the universal principle and is endowed with cosmic functions such as creation, maintenance, and dissolution. Saguna Brahman is the same as Ishvara, that is the Lord of the universe, who is the creative source of all multiplicity. According to Shankara, Saguna Brahman is, from an ultimate standpoint, an unreal superimposition upon Nirguna Brahman. But Aurobindo says, Saguna Brahman is as real a form of manifestation of the Supreme as the Nirguna Brahman. Saguna Brahman is Brahman endowed with attributes and dynamic creative power, that is Shakti. In Hindu philosophy, the creative energy of the spirit, the principle of becoming, is described metaphorically as the feminine principle, whereas the principle of being, Satta, which is the basis and support of the creative flow of becoming, is characterized metaphorically as the male principle. While Vedanta lays special stress upon pure being, Tantra lays special stress upon pure becoming or energy. According to both, however, reality in its deepest essence is conceived as beyond male-female static dynamic differentiation. We'll see about this differentiation in a short while. But before that, we'll deal with the view that Brahman is ineffable silence. Brahman, in its indeterminable aspect, is the great silence so far as it outsources all logical conception and verbal characterization. No words are adequate to describe it. No human notion is able to penetrate its inmost essence. No philosophical system can pronounce the last word about the fathomless mystery of its being. Now, how is Brahman apprehended? Even though Brahman is inaccessible to the relational way of thinking or to our conceptual understanding, it is possible for humans to attain a direct vision of the Brahman by transcending the trammels of the intellect. Brahman can be immediately apprehended by what has been called knowledge by identity or knowledge by being. One can realize Brahman by being one with Brahman. The primordial manifestation of Brahman in the intelligible sphere is infinite being, consciousness, joy. That is Sat Chit Ananda. Being, consciousness, joy. Brahman is pure infinite being, not in the sense of an abstract concept common to different form of existence, but is in the sense of the indeterminable creative source of all existence. As pure being, it is in essence beyond all the dualities of life and death, or of existence and non-existence. Brahman, being pure infinite consciousness, is pure unobjective light of consciousness which lights up all empirical and objective knowledge. Being pure consciousness, Brahman is beyond the polarity of the subject or object, knower, knowable, etc. It is pure infinite joy. It is the bliss bestowing ruler or the supreme lover of the world, but insofar as it is beyond the psychic polarities of pain, pleasure, sorrow, joy, and beyond the duality of the lover and the beloved. Brahman is indeterminable, but not in the sense that it is incapable of self-determination, but in the sense that it cannot be limited to or be identified with any specific determination or sum of determinations or collectivity of all determinations. Brahman is unfathomable and inexhaustible in its essence. It is the ineffable supreme that transcends the limitation of all self-expression, be it cosmic or individual. Brahman is the identity of all fundamental polarities. Reality is in its deepest essence beyond all such polarities as one and many, infinite, finite, absolute, relative, etc. But viewed from the human standpoint, reality may be described as the identity or creative unity of all the polar opposites. This is Saguna Brahman. Brahman may be described as the one endowed with the power of manifesting himself as an endless many. He is the infinite, having the inherent power of manifesting himself under the aspect of finitude. Brahman is at once the archetypal male and the archetypal female. That is why the Vedanta calls it Ishvara Maya and the Tantras call it Shiva Shakti. Vaishnavism call it Radha Krishna or Sita Rama or Vishnu Lakshmi. As the archetypal male, Brahman is immutable and eternally perfect, sufficient unto itself, and is the supreme knowledge or the absolute thought. As the archetypal female, Brahman is endless creativity, the perpetual becoming of time, the dynamic flux of empirical existence, the principle of objectivity and love. That is, it is the creative principle which brings into existence the objective world as an object of enjoyment for the pure subject. These two, the masculine and feminine, are however two inseparable aspects of the same cosmic principle. Now let us look at what the relationship between Brahman and the world is. From a human perspective, Brahman is the creative source of the cosmic manifold. Brahman creates the world and pervades, controls and guides the world process. But at the same time, Brahman transcends the world in respect of its unfathomable essence and its inexhaustible possibilities and absolute freedom. The relation between the Brahman and the world is an asymmetrical one, because even though the world is pervaded by Brahman, Brahman cannot be said to be pervaded by the world. That is, the converse is not true. Brahman cannot be pervaded by the world, whereas the world is pervaded by the Brahman. The world is in fact a form of appearance of Brahman. Buddhism speaks about Shunyata. So it would do good to see the distinction and similarity between Shunyata and Brahman. Both are ordinarily supposed to be radically divergent concepts. Brahman means fullness of being, plenitude or abundance, whereas Shunyata means emptiness or nothing. But the void or the Shunyata, properly understood, is the same as the Nirguna Brahman itself. Likewise, let us now look at the relationship between the Western concept of the Absolute and Brahman. Recollect that one of the meanings attributed by Grimes in his concise dictionary of Indian philosophy to Brahman is the Absolute. So let us look at this relationship. The word Brahman is rendered in English as the Absolute. But the Absolute, as it is usually understood in the idealistic philosophical system of the West, is not synonymous with Brahman. In Western philosophy, the Absolute has been conceived either as the negation of the relative or as the synthetic unity of the world of relations and distinctions. The Absolute, as the total negation of the world of relativity, must be entirely unknown or unknowable. The concept of Absolute as the total negation of relative and the finite is repugnant to the theory of Brahman, because the theory of Brahman is emphatic in its affirmation of the essential identity of the Brahman and Atman, of the divine and the self, of the universal and the individual. This implies that Brahman is the immanent truth of the world of finite and the relative. Consequently, Brahman is not entirely unknown or unknowable as it is conceived in the Western systems, but it is rather the basic condition of all differentiated knowledge and is importantly capable of intuitive realization. The Absolute, as conceived as the synthetic unity of the world of relativity, may be regarded as an aspect or the mode of existence of Brahman. It is Saguna Brahman. Brahman is poised as being as cosmic creativity. Ramakrishna points out that the immediate experience of Brahman involves the vivid realization of the essential unity of the great historical religions of the world, which are in fact different pathways to the same goal. So, acknowledgements to this paper, which was published in 1954 and penned by Haridas Chaudhuri, that is the concept of Brahman in Hindu philosophy, published in the journal Philosophy East and West, from which most of this lecture is derived.